Hello. I've been really focusing on the breakdown of manhood and why, in all the knowledge we have and information, do men resort to committing suicide. That's a very ugly happening. But we have to address this. I am the type that defends the defenseless. I am a voice for the voiceless. I choose to love the unlovely. And I bring light to the dark. That being said, I think that the select social population of suicidal cases, we never know that very last second of their life what makes them flip out. And I don't like to say flip out, almost like they're doing something they're not supposed to do, and because I'm not going to do it, I must be better. Because that's playing out a lot of bias. I want to be really non-biased in the social sciences here. The social makeup for the person that's committing suicide doesn't necessarily have to be isolated. They can have plenty of people around them. I think that, though, there is this self-realization, if you will, the shaping of the perception of the self, the interior dwelling of the personality, that the man realizes that he can't be honest with people, or people can't be honest with him in society. 1 second. Hello? Hi, I'm making a video right now, and it's only going to be, well, I sent you my YouTube channel, but right now I'm getting ready to discuss Ouspensky, who very esoteric and was Russian. Well, if you can't get him, that's too bad, because he's the one that broke down Gurdjieff for us. Well, this is funny. You called it an excellent time, because I want to read you what it's only a paragraph. Can I read it to you? He says, because I'm talking about men and suicide and the personality of man and what makes him commit suicide, because, he knows it's not a very truthful system, and people are not providing much humanity and love and peace in the, in the stillness of the soul, and people are basically sold out to money, and they have guilt, and they're not willing to come clean with that and be honest about their dark side. And I think men haven't grown up. Okay, call me right back. Ciao. Anyway, so man, let's take the avenue where God saves people. Okay, regardless of Hitler, really, regardless of the pedophile, regardless of the murderer, regardless of the rapist that raped you, regardless of course, the priest that fondled you and took you out to lunch and bought things for you, and mommy and daddy didn't do anything about it because needs were being met. And somehow the rest of your life up to today is tormenting you with thoughts of wanting to just murder him. And then you have the suicidal case. Oh, and then you have the homosexual. And also you have the straight community as well. They can do plenty of wrong things as well. So let's say God saves, and there's just ultimate grace and mercy, which is the truth. right? Why is that personality in man tweaked where he's going to shoot himself? I mean, statistically, after 9/11, when we reached the 2008 economic crisis in the country, post 9/11, a lot of straight men were committing suicide. This is underreported. I have my sources. But this is what you got in the news. Reason being is that these men who made a way out for themselves couldn't support their wives that were probably yuppies and their children and etc. You know, men have a lot on their shoulder and they're responsible. And, you know, when you see them doing heinous crimes, you wonder, my God, they need to, like I'm trying to say, grow up and mature. And they're not getting it because people don't want them to grow up, because this whole culture of annihilation. And, you know, the system has been rigged by the devil himself, and people are run by the devil. And Ouspensky works off of Gurdjieff's work. Gurdjieff was a Greek Armenian. And what I like to read for you is something that I think is going to explain a lot of what we're talking about. And you may understand the mind of the suicide, okay? Because, you know, time is being well spent on really resolving our prejudices. So we really, really, you know, got to get this. This comes from his text, The Psychology of Man's Possible Evolution. Okay, consciousness and spiritual development. Personality is all that is learned. That's just what it is. It's been taught, okay, in one another or another way. In ordinary language, consciously or unconsciously. In most cases, unconsciously. Means by imitation, which, as a matter of fact, plays a very important role in the building of personality, even in instinctive functions, which naturally should be free from personality. There are usually many so-called acquired tastes, that is, all sorts of artificial likes and dislikes, all of which are acquired by imitation and imagination. So the personality jumps on the wagon, kind of hones in on preference, and then forms a whole nature by that. That can be a definite disastrous part in man's life because of artificial likes and dislikes and prejudices and crimes and not having a certain consciousness at a certain point when lost in the darkness of the soul. By nature, man should like what is good for him and dislike what is bad for him. But this is so only as long as essence dominates personality. Good or bad, essence. It dominates personality, and at some point you have a degenerate, a dehumanized scope on self and purpose that one has been given in life, as it should dominate it. In other words, okay, when a man is healthy and normal, the things of goodness dominate him. When personality begins to dominate essence, and when man becomes less healthy, he begins to like what is bad for him and dislike what is good for him. So the more sin and the more corruption and greed that man has to waver through, he becomes desensitized almost. And at some point he starts disliking himself. And what happens is that can lead to a trigger of suicide. So with these thoughts, we're looking at the suicide of mankind and how that relates to personality and essence and all the components to one's personality. I don't know if these ideas help you, but I'm meaning them for your very greatest good, to do really awesome things filled with light and thankfulness.